All right, great thread from Brian Cates at Draw and Strike on Twitter. What people need to remember is that the same cast of dirty cops inside the DOJ and FBI and CIA who were involved targeting General Michael Flynn with a strategic leak and engineered a fake perjury case against him were also involved in something far larger with national security implications. The spying on Flynn and others during the campaign morphed into an actual coup attempt to take out an incoming presidential administration. While the fake perjury charge invented against Flynn is a serious crime, it's far from the only crime this cabal of federal officials did. Imagine you're in charge of the DOJ back in 2017. You just took over from Loretta Lynch. While you are trying to assert control over the DOJ, you simultaneously have to identify and begin rooting out the Spygate plotters inside the federal government. You catch these people in midstream, not only having manufactured a fake perjury charge against Flynn, you unveil one of the deepest, largest, most serious breaches of national security ever. These goons literally tried to sabotage a presidential administration and overturn an election. It becomes of paramount importance that three things happen. One, the Trump presidency has to survive this coup attempt. Two, what the Spygate people did must be fully exposed and evidence gathered to prosecute them. And three, Mike Flynn has to get justice. But although all three of these things must happen, your job is to prioritize how all three of these things are going to be achieved. In other words, in trying to get Flynn justice, you can't do anything that jeopardizes number two, prosecuting the Spygate plotters. Until they are ready to pull back the curtain and go public with all the evidence their indictments will be based on, and that they will be proving in the courtroom, there's a brutal truth that people are just going to have to accept. Flynn and others have had to wait. On the other hand, yes, it is very important that the bad cops be exposed for what they did in framing Flynn for perjury and then coercing him into pleading guilty. But it's also very important that their full attempt to launch a coup against this president must be fully prosecuted. The Flynn case is just one branch of a very, very large tree, and the roots go deep. How this was investigated, exposed, and then prosecuted had to be managed with extreme care and professionalism. The best had to be put in charge of this so it wasn't muffed. Flynn is far from the only victim of these bad cops and their despicable abuse of their official powers in the agencies they controlled. A genuine criminal RICO case was found of corrupt officials spread across multiple federal agencies who victimized dozens of people. The goal is not just to bring these people to justice for what they did to General Flynn. It's to bring them to justice for everything they did. The best had to be put in charge of this to get things to the point they now stand in. So, for the time being, those documents the special prosecutor handed off to Sidney Powell, Flynn's lawyer, remain under seal for good reasons. Until Durham is finished and the prosecution phase is launched by unsealing indictments, there are things the DOJ is not going to show publicly. Control of material evidence in criminal cases that are being developed against the Spygate plotters, the DOJ is not going to be free with that information and hand it to somebody that is not going to be responsible with it. They gave this sealed evidence that directly implicates Comey, McCabe, Strzok, and the rest of the Spygate scandal bad actors in criminal acts under seal to Sidney Powell because they know they can trust her with it. It's a sign things are almost to the point it's all going public. The documents the special prosecutor found inside the U.S. Attorney's Office in D.C. during his review of the Crossfire Hurricane team and Mueller's special counsel's handling of the Flynn perjury case remain sealed for now. I've stated several times now all the crimes committed against President Trump, against Carter W. Page, against General Flynn, and so many others. They're all connected. The investigation of all was heavily intertwined, and so also will be the prosecution of it all. Not just uncovering this, not just exposing all of it, not just rooting out all the plotters and replacing them, not just investigating what this criminal cabal did, but also meticulously collecting the evidence and then prosecuting them for their crimes had to be managed carefully. One wrong step here, one big mistake, and the slipperiest, cleverest, most corrupt swamp denizens ever to make their slimy home in D.C. are going to slither off into the night. Am I getting through to you? What a Herculean task this was in January 2017. Pundits babble about how easy it would have been for Trump and Sessions to have this all cleaned up by immediately arresting everybody involved. Good thing Trump doesn't listen to morons, eh? Well, remember what the major complication was. The incoming AG was himself a victim of this same criminal cabal that spied on him, intercepted, and unmasked his electronic communications while he was on the Trump transition team, then publicly accused him of being a Russian agent. But they found a way around that. It didn't stop anything. The work progressed. So here we are, waiting for Durham. I'm feeling really good tonight because they needed the best to be put in charge of this, to carefully manage it and pull off what looked like an impossible task back in early 2017. Well, good thing they got the best then. We're all in good hands. Sleep tight, folks.